Now, this is something you thought I would never discuss, but I think that it can help straight men also. Straight men realize that politically, we will never have the freedom that white men have allowed women to have. Women can fuck up, women can blatantly lie, and the white man will create laws, policies, and systems to be like, oh, that's okay. Okay. This is another reason why I don't blame women for what they do because it's the white man creating these systems. You can't go over to an Arabic country and do the same shit. They don't allow that shit. You can't go into most of these Latin countries and do that because they don't allow that shit. Wherever the white man is, except for Russia, he makes excuses for her behavior. All right. What's up, wacky world, man? This is going to be a very unique conversation. And I think, once again, straight men can benefit from hearing this. No matter how much you pander to women, she enjoys betraying you. I'm looking at a picture of my Colombian chick right now. You think this chick ain't gonna betray me if she gets a chance? My heart is prepared for it. But if she never betrays me, cool. But if after several years she go left, my heart is prepared for it. Gay dudes are dumb, generally dumb. They think they're one of the girls, and they think they can do what the girls do. You can only do that when white dudes are not trying to protect. Because what happened with Don Lemon is simply this: the white male system wanted to protect the girls. They didn't see Don Lemon as one of the girls. And guess what? The women didn't see Don Lemon strategically as one of the girls. He didn't have the freedom to say what any girl would be allowed to say to another girl. He got weaponized. All pandering dudes get weaponized. These gay dudes would be like, you patriarch men, you patriarch men, the patriarchy is the problem. No, no, no. Matriarch is the problem because matriarch is constantly looking for male slaves. Matriarch is constantly looking for male slaves, male servants, even if they're gay male servants. Oh, girl, key, giggle, giggle, giggle. But when she finishes laughing with that gay guy, she gonna be like, oh, human resources. Because she enjoys betraying. And the system that white men created for women allows her to betray. This is something you straight men can learn from this whole situation. I had one of my gay coworkers back in 1998 tell me, oh, you think because I kiki with blah, 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 that she won't sit up here and betray me? And I didn't think gay dudes realized it. But he said, oh, yeah. He said, he said, when it's convenient, they're going to look at me just as they look at you, a black man. They ain't going, the gay shit is going to be gone in their mind. And you know what? It's hard for a lot of gay dudes to realize this shit. Exactly, wacky world. Exactly. It. I'm not surprised by what happened. I knew it was going to happen when I saw Don Lemon drunk on the whole New Year's Eve thing a couple of years ago. I was skipping through channels and I saw him drunk. I said, "This dude blatantly drunk. He's going to get shocked." And let's take it to the straight man. What's wrong with the Black community is we got so many matriarch males. Now, watch Wacky World. I'm going to say matriarch males, and within a year, virtually everybody looking for content going to start saying matriarch males. Mark my word, Wacky World. See, when it was me, Wacky World, Solo TV, we didn't have all this inconsistency back in the day. We didn't have all this. Now, with these new people, they are so inconsistent on how they move, things they do. Everything is bullshit now. And what you guys got to understand is your number one enemy is not white supremacy. What are you talking about, C-Lay? Your number one enemy is Black males who are matriarch. Matriarch, Wacky World, do you disagree? Matriarch Black males are your number one enemy. It ain't even white supremacy. Because matriarch Black males are the reason that you don't get hired. Matriarch Black males are the reason that you get into fist fights in the hood. Matriarch Black males are the reason that you get into gunplay in the hood. Matriarch Black males are the reason matriarch Black males are the issue. They are the issue. They are worse than white supremacy. You ever think when you in the hood and you like, man, I need some money. You know, I'm growing up in this situation. I got to get away. Let me go do some dirt. Who's the number one person trying to take what you created? Some dude who can't create his own shit. Tell me that ain't matriarch. Some dude who can't create his own shit. Then you defend your shit, hurt this punk Mark, and then what? He wants to go get some friends to help his feminine ass. He can't stand 2 toes down and just take the loss for trying to take your shit, and then you got him back, right? Now he want to go get some friends. Now you got to either go get some friends or you got to go get a gat. Now you go get the gat, you lay a couple of these punk marks down, and now they want to come back with more fire. Now you got to go get friends with more fire. All this shit because this bitch ass Mark dude want to try to take your shit. Then if you sit up here and kill a bunch of these punks, now they want to hide behind the district attorney. Tell me I'm lying. Anybody in the chat room, tell me I'm lying. Matter of fact, before I continue, hit the thumbs up before I give you some more of this game, this certified game. Hit the thumbs up. I'm going to be right back once I see 10 likes. The rest of the 5 of you people listening can't hit the like button? Is that what's going on? So, matriarch males, Amazing Jay say, I like that. Matriarch males are really the problem. Let's look at Don Lemon. Don Lemon thought he was one of the girls. He thought he was a fellow matriarch. What did they remind him of? He didn't hit nobody. He didn't call nobody out their name. He just did what girls do. And guess what they told him? No. Now, here's the tale of the tape. When Don Lemon goes to his next job, which is not going to be on TV, because he has nowhere else to go. MSNBC ain't going to pick him up because of the drinking problem. Oh, see, that's the shock to his system. To go from everything that he had for the past, 7 or 12 years, to now he can barely get a newspaper job. That's the problem with matriarch dudes. Matriarch dudes always get shocked when all of their pandering backfires on them. See, a pandering matriarch dude is okay with everything he doing while he winning. Do you know how many Latinos I've met, black men, white men who done got betrayed by women that they were pandering for? And now they coming back to the patriarch men talking about, look what she done to me, man. Y'all right, them women ain't shit. But you was the main one running behind Cynthia G. You was the main one. Matter of fact, let me let Wacky World ride on you people and give you some level of the game. Wacky World, educate these people, man. I'm tired of talking.
What's going on, brother? What's up?
Let's get some more volume on that microphone.
Oh, hold on. All right. Yeah. Am I loud enough? Am
Yeah,
I
we
good?
good. Let's rock. Let's rock.
All right. Yeah. What's going on, brother? How you doing? Yeah. Uh, I definitely agree when you stated that matriarch males are the black male's biggest enemy, and I've stated that uh, 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 for a while now. But of course, I didn't use the term matriarch. That's your term. I might debo that term, but I'll give you the credit. you know, that's a that's a good phrase. But I've always stated that weak ass males, excuse my language, are the biggest enemies to black males and males in general. They are, because what weak males do is that they enable the bad behavior of a lot of females that you see in this society. I mean, it's unfortunately it's weak males that created a world where they actually give females leeway to actually get away with doing things such as falsely accuse males of these different sex crimes that they may or may not have committed and ruin the lives of males. But that's all I have to say.
Hold on. Let me redirect this. The reason why I want you to take matriarch males, I want Amazing J to say matriarch males, because I don't want you guys using female phrases like weak. We need to start using very defined phrases. We need to get into our theory and not our opinion. Matriarch males is a very definitive thing that women cannot use. Women can always use weak, but they can't use matriarch, because you know what? It lets people know that this is a very specific behavior. This ain't just a dude not having no strength or being insecure. This is a very lady first, daughter first mentality. And people like to put down patriarch when they hear it. I got kicked out of a room the other day by a bunch of black men who hated the fact that I said patriarch, because that's how trained they were. Patriarch just means that I care about the nephews and the sons more. Doesn't mean I care about the daughter and the nieces less. I just care about the nephews and the sons more. I do a lot of moves based on the nephew and the sons. And you know what these pandering dudes will say? Well, we all the community. Guess what? She don't think that. Only
Exactly.
only 2 out of 10 women think that. Now you go to a white community, and I'm gonna cover this on another video. I hope you stop by. The white women on The View was telling Sonny, no, 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 that's not how it works. And it was amazing to see a black woman on The View really do this anti-teammate conversation, while the white women were saying, hey, you're incorrect, black woman. I'm gonna do that review. I hope you stop by. But let you get back to this matriarch males. Jack Black, they got him for ageism. He was right to even in the he was right to even in their eyes. So it's not so much ageism. They saw him as a straight black man. They weaponized him. They weaponized it. Had nothing to do with his age. He spoke too much and he needed to fall in line. That's why you looking at Fox News and all they inconsistency. The women over there at Fox News got 9 sexual assault cases. Am I lying, Wacky World?
Nah, you're not lying at all.
Got 9 sexual assault cases at Fox News, and they gonna smile and sit up there and talk against black people and talk about liberals all day long, knowing darn well they got to go in there and suck somebody off to keep their job. That's crazy. But guess what? Just like in this situation, this matriarch male thought, well, as long as I'm doing X, I'm good. No, white men have created a terrible system. And Wacky World, I did another video, is probably playing. Texas is going to repeal one of these Ronald Reagan laws.
Wow. Okay.
And the Ronald Reagan law they're going to repeal, and we're going to get into that in a minute. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to say it. Let's put a button in this. Let's go back to Wacky World. So this is why I say I don't want y'all to say weak. It's matriarch. It's the male hyena willing to kill his own son. That's what's really going on, man. Wacky World, where did I get it wrong, man? I want to get educated. Where did I get it wrong?
I wish I can tell you, but I can't. Nah, you didn't get anything wrong. You made a very good point about utilizing the term matriarch males, because see, when you utilize matriarch males and the female cannot steal that, because if she utilizes it, she has to admit that there's something wrong with the matriarch that turned these matriarch males the way that they did. And of course, a lot of the females don't want to do that. They want to make it seem as if the matriarch is good and the patriarch is evil, which is why you have a lot of these statements that a lot of females make when they say, well, the patriarchy did this, the patriarch did that. That's why the society is the way it is now and all this stuff. But yeah, matriarch males is a very good phrase. It's a very good phrase.
So consultant is in here. What is a gynocrat, Wacky?
A gynocrat, a matriarch male. To me, that's what I think. Or someone who panders more to females, or who is more empathetic towards the female point of view than they are towards the male point of view. That's my definition of a gynocrat.
All right. So gynocrat is government by women.
Yes.
So I have no problem with what construction consultant said, but sometimes we black men got to be very weary on how things are going to play out 10 years from now. Gynocrat is going to make us sound very uneducated. Because can you imagine an angry man on CNN saying gynocrat and somebody pointing out to him what that means, government? That's going to make the guy look inconsistent. And then he's going to say, well, what I mean is, and then they're going to say, but that's not what the word is. It's the same thing that happened when the guy tried to educate Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton made him look like a fool in front of the world for not knowing the detail on what he was complaining about. But if y'all want to use gynocrat, go ahead and rock out. I just want to warn you that politically it's not going to play well over time, but I could be wrong. Go ahead, Wacky World.
I mean, if that's his or her opinion, constructive consultant, if that's his or her opinion, this person have the right to have their opinion. But matriarch male, I believe that's a good term, because technically speaking, I don't think you could look up a dictionary for the term gynocrat or gynocratic or gynocracy, but you can open up a dictionary and look up the term matriarch and then look at the term male. I mean, it's still a good phrase, matriarch male, and I do agree with Mr. Research that in the future, more and more people will adopt that phrase. You know, I do believe that. If I'm wrong, then hey, I'm wrong. But when it comes to Don Lemon, right? I was never a fan of this fool because I just remember years ago, I'll say maybe about possibly a decade ago, around 2012 or 2013, when he would come to see when he would be in CNN and he would totally try to mock so-called black people. He would make these smart statements, these little smart, quirky statements, these little passive aggressive statements, poking fun of certain things that so-called black people was complaining about. But then you fast forward to 2016, all of a sudden he claimed to be all woke. Like this guy was an idiot. I never really liked this guy, you know. So I don't feel sorry for him. But like you said, this guy, he's one of those alphabet boys. And I'm not talking about the FBI, by the way, when I utilize that term, who, like you said, would always try to pander to females, and then it backfired to them. It backfired towards them. And that's what happens when you always pander to those who are in the wrong. It will backfire on you.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
Ultimately, always does. So, Edward Anderson brought gynocracy into the internet talking points about 8 years ago. But that term never left the bubble of internet manosphere. Again, when you start writing books, when you start going on these TV shows, I just warn you guys, because this is Mr. Research Teaches Politics for Black Men. Make sure that the phrases you're using play well 10 years later. Because if not, it's going to make what you're saying look like eighth grade. But do you? No, it was Edward. Edward said it way before BGS said it. BGS has a tendency to take things that other people say and say it more often. That's the only difference. Edward was the first one. Back at the time when BGS and his crew used to tease Edward and make fun of him when he first came around. So BGS, no, it was Edward. I got to give Edward his credit. Was his credit on that.
Oh, they used to poke fun at Edward when Edward first
Oh
came
man,
on BGS.
they used to hate on Edward. They used to hate on Kevin Samuels. Before Kevin even did his perfume thing, they used to call Kevin gay. And, there's a lot about the manosphere that's a big lie. And, when I was Alpha Male Wisdom and I had a lot of subscribers back then, I was just always honest, man. I was always honest about this stuff. And now what has happened is there's so many lies now that it's like dudes are just almost worse than the Cynthia G's of the world. You know what I'm saying? But to each their own. Like I said, y'all ain't got to listen to me. Check out my Alpha Male Wisdom channel, 2006 Alpha Male Wisdom, Wacky World. You should be over there too. That's why I talk more about the women, the dating, things of that nature. Make sure you guys hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. This is free game. Let me go to the point that Wacky said, and then we'll go back to Wacky. Don Lemon's problem is he allowed himself to be weaponized. So let's dig into this part of it, because I want the straight black men to learn. Don't ever allow yourself to be weaponized by another group. Those pats on the back don't mean nothing, Wacky. Don't allow yourself to be weaponized by another group.
Exactly.
You got to understand that you can get money, you can get out there on the limb, and then that stuff can be pulled from you. Constructor says matriarchal and patriarchal societies have been successful, sir. Okay, where's the matriarchal society that's been successful? Show me the matriarch, the daughter first society. Go ahead and put it in the chat room. What is the daughter first society that has been successful?
And
I,
please don't
I,
put ancient Egypt, because ancient Egypt was not matriarchal.
no, no, not at all, not at all. Because Mena was the first pharaoh. Mena, Mena.
Yeah,
That
yep.
was the first pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, White people didn't come to almost 2,000 and a half years later. And then they had Cleopatra toward the end of stuff getting bad. So I don't, where you would have to show me where the matriarchal Queen Dido created a whole war. Nefertiti threw her sex at everybody. Sheba threw her sex at everybody. Queen Amina was catching children. What?
Didn't I read somewhere where Nefertiti pretended to be a guy in order for her to capture the throne of Egypt? Was that true?
Allegedly,
Mm.
allegedly, but it could have been her features, but who knows? I mean, because you got to understand, some women got the facial features. Once they cut their hair, they look like little boys.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
Queen Elizabeth, same problem. And I can't even say Queen Elizabeth is matriarchal because her the guy who kept helping her, the older guy, like her mentor, he did most of the work. The only woman I could say that was truly matriarchal rulership is the Queen of Russia, Catherine the Great. Other than that, I I don't know of a matriarchal woman who ran shit. But let me read the rest of his thing before we go back to you, Wacky. Matriarchal and patriarchal society, but try not to mix matriarch and patriarch together. Let them stand on their own, because when you mix it with patriarch, it makes it appear as if matriarch has some evidence of has a track record, and it just doesn't. It has been successful, sir. Just the particular civilization and their ways of being that fully illustrate how the familiar construct operates. Okay, so you got to understand, you're dealing with a fellow educated person. When you do the word salad, respectfully, it doesn't make the point better. You and I are both educated people. That point is not valid just because you put whipped cream on it. It's a particular civilization. Then name the particular civilization. I'm not trying to be argumentative here. It's just that I'm like you, sir. I'm very well read. You got to do better than that. If you're going to make that point, you get just a suggestion. Let me move on. Amazing Jay say, fellas, hit that like button. It's a great topic. Absolutely, man. Hit the like button. Show some love. Let's get educated by Wacky World. Wacky World, where did I get it wrong?
You didn't get it wrong at all, in my opinion. You can get it wrong, but hold on. I'll be right back. All right. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So Bob Brown says the whole thing comes from BGF. He was the first to do the video on guy. Okay. So let me explain it, Bob. Yes, he was the first to do the video, but Edward was talking about it in the group chat years before he did the video, sir. That's what you don't realize about it. Edward didn't really start doing videos at first. He would just come around to have group chat conversations. This is before Edward Anderson started getting in his car, making videos. So, was it the first video? Yes. But the whole that whole thing started with Edward. But okay, sir. I mean, you probably experienced it a different way. I've been in these YouTube streets since 2006, so I have a different viewpoint. But that doesn't mean you're not right, sir. So let's agree to disagree. It seems I'm always teaching, Mr. Research. Well, you should come up then, man. Come on up and give me some education, constructive consultant. I love to be educated. And it's always good for the fans to hear competing point of views. You can't stand on everything a group does, because that may cross your morals. Well, even worse than crossing your morals So here's the benefit of being group think. Here's the benefit of being group think. You get more power and faster. That's just what it is. You get more power and faster. Now, the sustainability is in question, which goes to your morals point of view, but you do get more power and faster. I can crush Jack Black faster if I bond with these people over here who I don't even like. Once I wipe Jack Black out, now I take over his house and his grandmother's house. And then over time, he may get it back. But I've defeated him in that moment. And that's the one thing we as Black men have not come to terms with, is understanding that hold my nose and be with the group gets you power faster. So let's hear from a constructive consultant. Educate us, brother. The mic is yours.
Can I be heard?
Rock out, brother.
Okay. By the way, I appreciate you for letting me on your broadcast today, Mr. Research. Peace to you, as well as peace to Wacky World O whenever he gets back on. So I want to kind of clarify what I was saying in the comments section, Mr. Research. Okay, so I want to clarify. So there are matrilineal and there's patrilineal, right? And I don't want to get in the weeds or anything like that. It's just basically meaning through the mother, through the father. Now, what you're talking about, headed through the mother and the father, you have the Khan. They were matriarchal, and you have the Musu out of China. They were matriarchal. They were actually out of Tibet. There's been other examples of possibly the other civilizations is just pure speculation, where they looking through anthropology, things that they've left behind that maybe lead researchers to believe that they were matriarchal. Now, I'm not in no way I'm not advocating for either or. I'm just stating that. And the reason why I wanted to specify, Mr. Research, is because, like I said in my comment, I believe we're a lot of times in the manosphere, we focus too much on these big broad terms, and we don't really get to specificity as far as the actual civilizations that are defining at the time what their societies actually are, how they're constructed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like, for instance, ours. You have spoken, because I've listened to your broadcast, and we've talked many times on Ronald Reagan, the things that he did. This is Ronald Reagan, this is things that he done. He was I guess you want to call it a patriarch, if you want to say that. Although Mrs. Reagan, Nancy Reagan, held influence and others, he did things that destabilized men.
True.
You've highlighted this. So bills, actually signed bills, history that you cannot refute. He did things. Okay. So there are people who have done things that are quote unquote, we call them patriarchs or from patriarchal societies, that do the very opposite of what they say that they represent. Am I correct?
Say that one more time.
They do the opposite of what they say they represent.
Okay, true.
So like I listed Ronald Reagan. You have others such as I wouldn't say Newt Gingrich, but he's done some things that were basically destabilizing industrial wise that would affect men
Okay, let me
as
slow
well.
you down real quick, because you said three things. You said Mushu, and what was the first one you said? Starts with
The
an A?
the Khan.
The account. Okay, so let me just recap something real quick. And we'll let the audience decide. And you and the audience, y'all make comments, because this is good. This is good dialogue. Two well-read people having a conversation, a polite conversation on theories, not opinions. Remember, opinions are feelings. You as a man should never have a fucking opinion. You should have a theory. You're too old to have feelings. You should have theories. So here's the theory that he put forth. Mushu. So the equivalent of Mushu that people don't know is like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix. Mushu is no more than 40,000 people. No more. So it's like a city at the end of the day. Now we're talking society. I don't feel like that fits the narrative, a city of women, but okay, let's go down that road. The other thing about the Reagan, that is a stronger argument. So he has won that one in regards to Reagan and Nancy, because Nancy and Margaret Hessler controlled Reagan. So he won that argument. That's probably a better argument than the Mushu thing, to be honest. So applause to you on that, because they controlled Reagan. They got Reagan to undo some laws to help men and better help women. But go ahead and finish your point, brother. Consultant? Oh, we lost consultant. Oh, darn it. But that was good dialogue, man.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
I was back for a while and I was listening. That was.
What are your thoughts, man? Because I'm sorry the brother gone, because that was a good point he made. But what are your thoughts, White? And for everybody, Mr. Research enjoys conversations. I'm not right about everything, and what you just saw is black men who are well read have a polite discussion. And notice how I acknowledged where I think he won an argument. That's what should be happening in the manosphere. But unfortunately, we got a lot of insecure dudes who don't like to have brotherhood. But Wacky, what did you hear that you liked about what consultant said?
I mean, he made some interesting points. What he said about Mushu, because I never heard of the Mushu the Mushu society. So it was interesting that he talked about that. I believe that Mushu, he stated was from Tibet, so it was interesting.
True,
And
but there are only 40,000. It's just like a city.
40,000. Right.
Yeah, it's just like a city. It's not a true society. It's a city.
Right. But what he said about with Nancy Reagan, having a lot of influence on the career of Ronald Reagan, that was a good point. But for the most part, let's look at the majority, because in life, the way I look at it, in life, majority rules. The majority of the time, we see more successful and long-lasting societies in patriarchal societies. When you look throughout world history, the most dominant society that lasted a very long time were, for the most part, patriarchal societies. And there are not enough matriarchal societies that ruled for there was not enough matriarchal societies that ruled for the amount of time patriarchal societies ruled, and there haven't been enough of a quantity of matriarchal societies that's been as successful as patriarchal societies throughout a long period of time. So we have to say, long term, patriarchal societies were way more successful than matriarchal societies. If I'm wrong, someone can please correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll take my correction.
No, I agree with that. We got consultant back. I want to cover something real quick. So once again, his point on Nancy was very well said. That is more stronger argument, because Nancy controlled Reagan more than people realize. But let's give it back to construction now that his mic is working.
Okay, can it be heard?
Rock out, sir.
Okay, so what I was trying to say, because I think sometimes, like I said, we get kind of what I was trying to say was not clear in the comment section. So you have people like that. You have people like Margaret Thatcher, right, over in the UK, big influencer, right, very huge influencer. You had Margaret Albright over here in the US, who basically had a big hand on policy as far as Iraq, and during George Bush is an evangelical Christian man, quote unquote. But he's got people like Margaret Albright. You have people like you're a California resident and a Bay Area resident. So you got people like your esteemed Nancy Pelosi, right?
Very
She's
good example.
she
Nancy is a better
so
example than Albright and Thatcher, because Albright and Thatcher still had to go through male approval. A lot of people don't realize that. But Nancy Pelosi is a way better argument. But go ahead.
I list those. That's why I said in my comment to clarify afterward, Mr. Research, I said we have to begin in the manosphere. Sometimes, a lot of times, we don't get real specific. We have to look at the actual civilization itself that we're pinpointing, and we have to look at their actual what their weaknesses were, and what their strengths were, and what their actual operating, their ideology, what their ideology really was. Okay, who to see who's anti, as I've heard you say, anti-male, who's actually anti-male or anti-family, right? Men in particular in the family. We have to start. That's what we do. That's what we have to look at instead of we use these broad terms like because now, Mr. Research, you have all of these people saying we must dismantle the patriarchy. We must dismantle the patriarchy. All the while saying this while enjoying some of the freedoms that
Patriarchy.
right, correct, right. You, Mr. Research, last year was a exercise. You should have seen that when the United States Supreme Court ruled on Roe v. Wade. We had a co-worker come in. She was so angry, right? She was so angry. And it was so interesting. We come from vastly different sections and all this. And all of the men had to remind her, I mean, literally, by policy, all the things that women could do in regards to their reproductive rights that men literally have no rights over still. And you know what she did, Mr. Research? She was angry, but she could not refute any of it. Couldn't refute a doggone thing. So that is what I mean. We must speak in specific. We have to look at European society. What do they actually believe as far as the family, and how do they engage? How do they engage their potential competition? Like we have to look at what do the Chinese, Cantonese, I don't care what they are. How do they actually engage family and society? And their what we would term as their competitors. How do they engage them and their families? Then we dissect and get more specific and say, okay, you know what? This is not good. This isn't bad. Because just simply saying patriarchy and matriarchy and all this, man, it's not sufficient anymore.
Let me cover something else while I got both of y'all here. Because once again, Mr. Research always first with the information. So Texas is trying to do the no-fault divorce thing, and it's conservatives doing it. Let me ask both of you this first question. I've been saying this to white conservatives for years. If you stop working against men, you wouldn't have many of the complaints that you have. There's no reason for NAFTA. There's no reason for right to work. You should let unions organically form if they want to. You need to stop helping big business. They got enough write-offs. They don't need, they got Main Street paying for Wall Street fuck-ups. Stop helping them. So now conservatives in Texas are going against no-fault divorce, something Reagan created. Like I tell everybody, we had quadruple marriages before dumbass Reagan. Wacky world, before I go to consultant, what is your opinion of conservatives in Texas going against no-fault divorce? Wacky.
Well, this is my first time hearing about this, so I have to do more research about it before I have something to say about it. But ultimately, what I have to say about no fault divorce in general, I know that's not the question. Like I said, I cannot give you an answer as far as what do I think about conservatives going against no fault divorce, because I need more information on it. But I may be one of the few people in the manosphere who is all for no fault divorce. I'm all for it. I don't really have a problem with it. My issues really is with, in modern times, giving spousal support and or alimony. That's really one of my biggest things that I'm against when it comes to divorce in modern times. Is still in 2023 we have to, that people get alimony and spousal support, which I think should be done away with. But that's what I have to say concerning that.
So I'm going to speak to that after I get consultants. I don't want to influence consultants' answer. What do you think about conservatives in Texas going against no fault divorce?
So to start off, I have heard about it, Mr. Research. For me, I have to, as your name implies, I have to do more research because I've read a number of different articles, Mr. Research, about Texas and their demographic changes and how that's potentially going to, in the next 10 years, that state will be a majority Democrat voting state, as well as their policies are changing. And this is somebody who was living in Austin, which is much more of a transplant town, for about 6 to 7 months. So do with that
Okay.
what you will.
So here's why it will never be a liberal state. So right now, what's happening is all these Californians, especially Silicon Valley people, are flocking to Texas because of the no taxes. And they believe that it'll have a benefit for them to run their Silicon Valley bullshit. The problem is, just like Montana, Texas is going to get tired of their ass after 4 or 5 years. Okay. Texas is going to tax their ass. Texas is going to do a lot of stuff to those Democrats trying to live there than them Democrats ever thought they'd have to deal with. Everything's going to be good the first 3 years. They're going to be thinking they running shit, all that good stuff. But one thing about Texas, same thing as Montana, same thing as Utah. Them people will form like Voltron if they feel that their way of life is being too dramatically changed. That's just what it is. Uh, here's the thing.
Mr. Research, if I may, before you go on, I do want to put this in there. I want to throw this bomb in there, as it were, proverbially, in the conversation. I want to see how that works with their demographic, that particular demographic, the very fervent one. I want to see how that works with the dwindling demographic and the growing demographic from everywhere else. It's just not California now. I was down in Austin. I lived in Austin, and I lived in Texas, and I lived in Bastrop for about a good 7 months, Mr. Research. I want to see how that holds up with the bustling, it's people coming from everywhere, the upper Midwest, all different places. I want to see how
Okay,
that works.
here's the proof. Here's the proof.
Okay.
Republicans vote 3 to 4 times a year. Liberals vote mostly once. It is a cultural thing for Republicans to vote 4 times a year on elections and referendums that liberals don't even know that's going on. And here's why. When you register as a Republican, you will dramatically get information about races you never even knew were going on. When you register as a Democrat, you get no clue unless it's national. Democrats can give two fucks about telling you about judges, controllers, treasurers. They can give two fucks about what's happened locally. But those Republicans, shit. The amount of mail and email that will come to you every voting cycle which is primarily almost every 3 to 4 months, every 3 months. I mean, they swamp you with information. This is why liberals always lose. So, yes, there will be a lot of people, and nationally, there may be some effect, but locally, county wise, no. No, them motherfuckers is going to run everything. But let's see. I could be wrong. Let's get to the other point that you raised about Wacky World. Wacky World's raised about he has to wait and see. Well, getting rid of no fault divorce gives Wacky World everything he's asking for. Because without no fault divorce, you have to show and prove why you're asking for this divorce, which makes most women not want to be part of a marriage that they have to prove infidelity. See, under no fault divorce, infidelity is null and void. So if you come in the house and you see a penis down her throat, under no fault divorce, you can't use that as a reason for divorce. Look, Scooby, a clue. But when no default divorce is removed, yes, you can use that, because without no fault divorce, you have to prove why you have to pay this money. You have to prove why you have to give this amount of alimony. Everything is about proof under the law when no fault divorce is not applied. So it gives Wacky World everything he wanted. You have to have checks and balances. You have to show why she needs this amount of money. Under no fault divorce is totally different. So, but yeah, please, one thing I'm proud of, both of you guys said I got to research more. Great. That's what I want more black men to do. Don't have an opinion. Have a what, gentlemen?
Theory.
Theory means you have some facts or track record on why you saying what you're saying. You can't just go off, I feel that a walrus is a dinosaur. And then we go on an 8-minute conversation about that. I mean, it is what it is. Jack Black said Nebraska and Colorado too. God's country. These are not majority. They're in minority, has taken power nationally, but not on a county level. Sweden is reconsidering their stand on gender. They started all of this. Gender confusion. Well, let's get back to the Don Lemon thing real quick. So here's my point I want to pull up about the Don Lemon thing.
Hold on, Mr. Reese. Can I say something?
Go ahead, rock out.
As far as the topic of no fault divorce, and also what you stated about alimony, which is, you made a very good point. But do you see a future where in America that no fault divorce can be accepted, but at the same time alimony could be removed? Because
no, can't happen, because white male created system will always make women the victim. And because white males are complaining yet keep trying to help women. Notice every time I tell y'all, I don't hate women at all. I just realize men help women way too much. And because you help women way too much, they're not appreciative of being helped. This is why other women from other countries, they come and they very appreciative that you're not beating them, cheating on them. They're very appreciative. The USA women, not so much.
You made a good point about Caucasian males always creating females as the victim, because that's basically the basis of almost every alimony law in the United States of America, to place females as the victim, which unfortunately my home state of New York was the first state in the country to have a law on alimony, and all the other states adopted that. It was based on female victimhood. Damn.
But when you remove no fault divorce, now she has to prove why the alimony is needed.
Right. Right.
You got to remember, no fault divorce is a law of, hey, we're breaking things even. Yeah, but the law books waiver for whoever brought whoever into their financial uh marketplace. So Don Lemon is with his white husband. If Don Lemon makes more and they part, Don Lemon got to pay the white guy. If the white guy makes more, and we're talking taxes, then Don Lemon gets paid by the white guy. That's how it works. That's why so many women get shocked when they got to pay their husbands. Well, guess what? Tax wise, you make more. But really, I don't. I just be working overtime. Again, taxes. It's not about what you think you make, it's about what your IRS report is. Anybody?
Good point. Good point. It's a good point.
Consultant?
Yeah, I'd be really interested, Mr. Research. I give it a decade. I think that's where a lot of what we're saying will met out as far as the no fault. I'm really interested because right now the marriage demographics are not good. Hell, I sent them to a female associate of mine. We were talking about this, a family member, and I sent her the stuff, the actual demographics, and the statistics along it, and she couldn't. I'd be really interested, especially with our
Well,
because
well, let's get into some pimp player talk real quick since we all here. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Let's get into some pimp player talk. So, as it relates to women, what if I'm finna go there? What if men, instead of worrying about having getting free pussy, what if you could just go have a surrogate child? What if a surrogate child was only 30 or 20,000 for you to have? Let's start with consulting. Would having a wife be that important to the masses? Not to consult, not to constructive consultant, but to the masses of men. If having a surrogate child was only $20,000, that's $20,000 over a 5-year loan. Would getting chicks pregnant be a major concern for a man?
yes, because of how the patterns of men and women, and yes, it would be still.
Okay, that's one viewpoint. Why do you believe that the culture would sustain that mentality when the eighth graders become 18? So I guess my question is, would that continue with the eighth graders turning 18, or would it only live with the current men because they were raised that way?
It would still happen. Now, the as a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, uh, last time I checked, black people and Europeans, specifically whites, we're beyond replacement. We're below our replacement levels. Okay, and I believe Hispanic women are pretty close. They're like one. They're nearly at 1.5 last time I checked, as far as birth rate. Okay, why do I bring that up? Well, that goes specifically to that point. How are those children introduced into the world? And what Mr. Research was, what you were highlighting about uh, surrogates, right? If we're already reproducing below our replacement levels, right? The three major demos, right? Hispanic, white, and black. I don't see how introducing or making surrogacy for men in particular, uh, how that would be at this point in time be a big game changer if men in general have being the most careful with how they reproduce and who they reproduce with in the history of this country.
Okay. So we're going to go to wacky, but before we do, I want to say this. Please go look up reproductive companies. I used to work for a reproductive department. They're not lacking. So when I tell you guys all the time on this channel, it's all about classism. The brown collar urban people are having an issue. These mid and upper level people, they're not having no issue at all. None. They paying for this shit. The amount of Asian babies, Asian white babies, white and Latin babies that go through a reproductive company is amazing. You got chicks who got their husband trying 7 and 13 times, paying freaking 3 to 5 G's per session to get these kids.
But Mr. Research, I know some. I'll just say this. When you compare it to the general population, right? That's what I'm saying is that the larger, greater society is not doing that. If we're trending, we will be trending down. We are trending, the women, as far as they're trending down, as opposed to maybe some people who are elite or upper middle class, which is becoming smaller and smaller demographically. Then that's where I put it into question. That's where I would challenge that.
Well, we're going to see in the 5-year model. We're going to have this conversation in the 5-year model because at this rate, because look, I got introduced to the surrogacy thing in 2016, and I ain't looked back. I don't, this is just, I want my kids. I want to focus on my kids. These chicks can come and go because to Wacky's point, these laws for divorce is just ridiculous. But we shall see. Let's get Wacky's point of view. Thank you for being patient, Wacky. What are your thoughts? Oh, shoot, we lost Wacky. Oh, darn it. All right, so here's my point that I want to raise. It's just me and constructive. Here's my point that I want to raise. I believe that more and more Black men are going to start to realize that they're $5,000 away from freedom. All of their complaints are $5,000 away. And the more Black men start putting themselves in a $5,000 away situation, all that lawyer conversation is going to be over with. All that child conversation is going to be over with. You're going to start seeing, once the Black man, and maybe I should act consultant this, once the Black man realizes that most of his problem is the fact that he don't have lawyer money on deck, he's going to be civilly suing everybody he can. I felt so good when I sued my boss in 2001. He had to pay me for 2 years. More Black men should know that feeling. And in the case of Don Lemon, how we started this conversation, if he had just kept realizing, hey, I'm a Black man first, I better not get too comfortable around this motherfucker, then I don't think he would have had the problem. What consultant educate me on my theory of Black men are just $5,000 away. They're traveling more than what they did. They used to have to go to the military. I got to go to the military so I can see the world. But now he making money. He can afford that $3,000 trip. What are your thoughts, consultant educators?
Well, since I'm a part of that demo, I will say that I think, Mr. Research, you're probably going to laugh. You're going to get tickled by this. I think silently, as I've been, I travel the country and I'm in the trades, Black men silently are wolfing away. You remember that term, Mr. Research?
Yes. Wolf
not.
away silently. Don't argue. Bounce.
That's what the majority of them are doing. They're woofing away. They just won't say it, Mr. Research.
Exactly.
And I think with the resurgence, I will say this though, that's throwing a monkey wrench. It's not a monkey wrench, it's a new ripple. With the articles that I've read, ABC News, everybody can go look it up, and different other periodicals have talked about teachers, female. I'm assuming female teachers have been told to monitor young scholars' cell phone usage and what they're listening to in the hallways. So they're watching. So apparently that lets me know, and it mentioned this in regards to famous male, let's just say famous male YouTubers who who bring up these talking points. No, everybody realize how I put that? Didn't say manosphere, I said male YouTubers who discuss these talking points. Notice what I just did there. So that lets me know young men are increasingly getting this knowledge. I think not that I think Mr. Research is just what is, like I said, they're woofing away. This is anecdotal information.
So
They're woofing away. They rather go ahead.
so yes, arguing, going to a circle jerk about how much you hate chicks is a waste of your time and it's putting too much attention on the chick. Silently bouncing, not getting her pregnant, that's your claim to fame.
And I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
Being mad is a waste of time.
Also too, Mr. Research, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry, real quick. I wanted to say this. Also too, Mr. Research, I think black men in particular, men in general, as I've talked to some psychologists and or experts, men in general have been severely affected by the uneven laws and education.
But it's the laws that they create, that white men created. See, here's the one thing that I've always hated: white men joining black men in these conversations, but nobody wants to go against the government because the government is full of white men. So white men have to, I said this to Sandman years ago. White men have to go against white men. Otherwise, I don't believe a white man. I don't
Well,
believe white. I don't believe white. Let me rock for a minute. I don't believe white MGTOW. I don't believe white red pill, because these are movements that black men started. Okay, MGTOW was started by the Caribbean guy. Red pill came after that. You know, Ibmore was BGS's failed attempt to have something, and actually Forrest created that. My bad. Forrest created that, and Forrest created it because he loved fat white chicks, and BGS took it over. But even that was failed because of what happened with the whole red pill situation. Red pill turned into a racist thing for a hot second before that white woman made the movie, because you had some people using red pill to talk about black men, which was, and to the point that Sandman had to make a video about it. Hey, we're all men. Let's not do that shit. See, these are the details a lot of people don't understand when they're watching stuff from a distance. Let me read a couple of chats and we'll go back to consulting. China has a major problem on their hands because of past laws. Not really. China is going to weaponize Africa. They're going to put all their people out on Africa, and they're going to do the same thing they did to Jamaica. You're going to start seeing Chinese people have African citizenship with China agenda. The Swiss bringing Africans in, supporting them in the hopes of boys for their wives. That is true. Russia's going to be doing the same thing too. Russia has a thing for African American males. A lot of y'all don't realize that. And I'm not talking about the women. I'm talking about the Russian men want the power of African American males in Russia. It is a very serious thing. A lot of these upper tier people are creating master plan communities to further separation. Ashley, you're absolutely right, because we're in classism ever since 2010. A lot of people don't know. Jeremy Bignon, you made it over here. Everybody, make sure you go part of my 2006 Alpha Male Wisdom. Please look it up on YouTube. 2006 Alpha Male Wisdom. Going to be doing a lot of our dating stuff over there. Mr. Black says room and board and jobs, access to their wives. Mr. Bignon said, if you afford tickets, front row at the basketball game, you can go anywhere around the world. Absolutely. Delta has made it very easy, consultant. $800 will get you in Japan, man. That's what I've been telling passport bros. Why are you announcing it? Why are you announcing it for? Right. Why the black woman won't change? I'm finna go over here. Why do I care? Why do I care? Stay tuned for my tricking video. Tricking is a good thing. Oh, y'all gonna love that video. Consultant, tell me how I got it wrong.
So like, well, like I was saying, was that that's what most men are doing. Now, as I'm a different part of the country again, mostly white men again, like everywhere else, but sometimes it gets black dominated. But anyway, we got to see, we're going to have some demographic shifts, Mr. Research. Boomers, my parents are boomers, they're getting up in their twilight. All right. They're already dying. And they didn't really take good care of a lot of the men didn't really take good care of themselves. Some of the circumstances. So they're dying. So the demos will be changing. That's why I said, let's give it a decade or so. Even the marriage demos and the child birthing demos, they will be changing. And also, what I wanted to say, Mr. Research, also too, the reason why a lot of black men are moving away from it and wolfing away is because, quiet as it's kept, they were severely traumatized. Okay, from parents not planning them, as far as planning on having actually sitting down, planning out children and being looking out for the interests of the children. So they severely traumatized. They're not saying it, but they are. Everything else they're indicating is saying that they are. They have been.
Here's what a lot of y'all urban folk is going to be shocked by. The middle class and the upper class are not going to join any of these numbers that y'all talking about. They are producing manager children and supervisor children at a high fucking rate. Why are the children from India more successful than your average Latin American? Because they are putting their children in position at 16 fucking years old. You got 18-year-olds going straight into a high-paying job because they are practicing nepotism at a high fucking level. They get in and they hire their worst people. Y'all think they smart. Indians are not fucking smart at all. Most of their companies fucking fail. But guess what they do real well? Hire each other at a high fucking clip. High fucking clip. They don't care if consultant knows his shit. They don't care if consultant has the skill. They pulling his ass in and consultant only knows 25% of the fucking book. That's an actual thing that's happening. It's happening so much. Diversity and inclusion is complaining about it. But guess who thinks that nothing is going on? The white man. Oh man, there's nothing to see here. And they be the main ones ready to storm the Capitol once they realize 5-10 years later, oh shit, we have really fucked everything up. I remind white people all the time, black people didn't create these laws that you're mad at. And it makes white people think, well, shit. Let's hear what Jeremy had to say. if you can afford tickets. And Jack Black says, that's what I've been telling Passport Bros. Amazing Jay says, expecting American society to be fair is a feminine way of thinking. Men need to be strategic, always strategic, man. Look, I was telling one of my homeboys yesterday, Mr. Research had to get on Mr. Research's ass. Consultant, listen to that part. Mr. Research had to fight the old Mr. Research so that the new Mr. Research can live. Got to do it. Jeremy says, black men for $5,000, $10,000 away from women you want. Look, put it this way, not even women you want. Women who, one of the proudest things I ever heard, and I want to hear what Consultant has to say about this. My neighbor is Ethiopian. He just bought the house 2 doors down from me. He said, oh yeah, man, he bought the house, and within fucking a year and a half, he went back to Ethiopia and found a wife. And here's the first thing he says. Oh yeah, I can leave here for 1 or 2 years and my wife will take care of the whole house. See, that's the one thing immigrants got over a lot of Americans. Many of their wives, and it ain't about being loyal. I'm not saying whether the chick is going to take dick or not. I'm saying this chick is going to handle his family business as if he's there. My Uncle Sammy, that was the best thing I thought my Uncle Sammy did. My Uncle Sammy worked on a shipping cruise liner. He was constantly gone. Wife was there taking care of everything, had the house rocking and rolling. This is important to know. Go ahead, Consultant. Where did I get it wrong?
Well, I think, Mr. Research, you have to, and we've talked about that with the immigrants and them kind of, and how they do the nepotism thing. I think what's important that's going to be, that may change that, Mr. Research, is the rate at which America is losing its rank among nations and its status. And so I think that will, not that I think, it is showing that it will change the trajectory of all these immigrants and how our society is constructed, who wins and who loses. It is changing. We see it with Russia. They were supposed to fall. They were not supposed to be thriving. The ruble, the Russian ruble, was supposed to fall. It was supposed to, remember, it was supposed to be like in Germany, after Germany fell with Hitler in World War II, 1945. Supposed to do the same thing. It was supposed to be carrying it out in barrels. That hasn't happened. The ruble has bounced back. As a matter of fact, there are increasing articles about how Europe is becoming a client state and it is becoming one, and their manufacturing is leaving Germany. Germany of all places, Mr. Research, and I know you spend time in Europe.
Yeah, but manufacturers leaving Germany only because NAFTA's out of control. And what everybody's tried to do is mimic NAFTA by going after cheap labor. When you look at it, that's the rise of Malaysia and fucking China, is all this cheap ass labor. But look at what France has done. France is like, fuck that. We kicking Muslims out. Huh? Yep. Fuck y'all. We got to take care of French people. That sound fucked up, don't it? But guess what? They about to make that damn move.
But are they taking care of French people? Can we say that, really?
Not yet. Not unless this policy goes through.
I mean, the only reason why I say that, Mr. Research, you follow news, you follow articles and things of that nature. You see what's going on with them trying to raise the retirement age.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
To 65.
Okay.
They've been protesting and rioting in the streets.
Okay.
Macron has been jet setting to China, talking to President Xi, he took businessmen with him, French businessmen with him, trying to basically woo them over. I mean, he avoiding kind of.
That's because, but see, you're not getting to the point. All of that is because they have betrayed French people for so long. I was there in fucking 91. They've betrayed French people so long. The same thing we're here in America. You cannot ask people of a land to fight for the country, protect the country, but give most of the benefits to people who are just there temporarily. You can't keep doing that. And raising the retirement age is only because the same thing Obama did with the whole medical shit. You have created a burden on the country, and the only way to fix it is to move some decimals. So that's the way he was going to fix it, is moving the money decimal. But he's doing it on the social side because you can't do it in the medical. So you got to move the numbers. They have fucked up. But with that said, he said, hey, look, fuck everybody who ain't French. That's honest.
Is that
So,
is he really saying that though?
Well, he's saying it to a degree. My thing is this. These are rough conversations, but it's not sustainable. Just like I kept telling people Silicon Valley wasn't sustainable. Like I told people Bitcoin and crypto was not sustainable. Everybody didn't believe it. These structures are built on laws. And yes, you can make some good trade money for 1 to 4 years, maybe even 5. But come that 7th year, the laws are going to catch up. And when you look back at it, NAFTA, created in 1994, is catching up on America. We can't keep doing this shit. We can't. We talking about AI. What did the Godfather? A matter of fact, let me ask you, consultant. What did the Godfather of AI tell you? He said this shit is going to kill humans. This ain't me saying that. It's the creator. We get caught up in opinions, and the theories are all that matter. But tell me where I got it wrong.
I think where you got it wrong is that the world is coming to grips with these nations, with BRIC. For all those who don't know, look up BRIC. Brazil. You have South Africa, China. I believe India. They make up BRIC, and I'm missing one more. I can't remember.
Brazil.
I said Brazil.
So Brazil, China, India.
There it is. I said India.
Yeah.
South Africa. So the world is reordering itself, Mr. Research. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go all the way over to communism or purely socialistic policies, because I think we've had a kind of passing conversation about that, and I don't think you're totally sold on it. A lot can be said if you really parse it out, Mr. Research. The world is reordering itself. The way that the Western countries, Western civilizations, like to damn near zombify nations and even colonized populations within its own countries is failing. The other more nations that are coming on the scene and are forging lasting relationships with those nations I just mentioned do not believe in doing business like that or diplomacy like that. Look at Iran. Look at Syria. Syria is joining back with the Arab League. Everyone. Turkey.
Well, shit. Iran is joining Iraq.
Yes. Iran is. I mean, it's just amazing. Look at Saudi Arabia.
It's not amazing. Man, I've been predicted this shit. Wait. I've been predicted this shit when Hillary started fucking with Egypt.
Shit.
I said all this is gonna do is make these motherfuckers unite. When fucking Gaddafi was alive and said, what is all this fictitious bullshit? Is Libya gonna be next? And then guess what? He was next. And what did fucking Putin get up there and say? This shit is crazy. Y'all just killed this dude over nothing. Now we got to start looking at y'all funny. I've been said this shit.
The world is reordering itself. and the way we believe in
No, no, no,
zombie.
no, 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 no. USA is fucking up. USA is not focused on their people. USA is trying to be too fucking global.
That's
And,
USA.
and it's
Mr. Research.
backfiring. And it's backfiring.
Mr. Research. I don't know how you could. You're Mr. Research. I don't know how anyone could take a brief 250-year history of how we've been operating and think that it's logical or makes a lot of sense.
No, what I'm saying is if USA had just focused on USA, we would be fine. What we have done is create policies chasing the global bag. Why? We was already running shit. Shit was way more productive before fucking Clinton and way before. People don't even like to give Jimmy Carter as much fucking credit for his numbers. Misfit Nation is in the chat room right now. I challenge him to go do a fucking video on Jimmy Carter's numbers. Fuck what the TV tell you about Jimmy Carter. His numbers were fucking amazing. But then we get Reagan in office, and here come NAFTA. We get Reagan in office, here comes trickle down that never happened. We get Reagan in office, and we want to go help Russia tear down that wall. We create fucking NATO because of Reagan. We have the whole Afghan bullshit, missile crisis because of Reagan. Reagan took the tanks out of fucking Afghanistan and went and put missiles there. What the fuck? So my point is, historically, these policies of chase the bag is what fucked us up. Now y'all want these unions back. Y'all want these trade schools back. But in order to do it, look, and this is how I know Misfit Nation is lying. The numbers on Jimmy Carter were not the worst ever. You watching too much TV. Do some actual research. Look at the GDP. Look at the employment. The boy was at 3 fucking % employment. What the fuck are you talking about? He had the worst economies. This shit don't even make sense. You're listening to Reaganite people tell you this shit. Reagan fucked everything up. But I digress. My whole point is that y'all got to stop watching TV. Y'all got to stop watching TV. Y'all got to dig into these policies. At least a consultant is digging into the policy of why he thinks what he does. It can't be. No, he lost the election because, see, again, you going off TV. He lost the election because people back then didn't have the internet to cross-reference shit. And the TV got up there and said the housing crisis was because of him. He had no control over the fucking housing. Housing is local. It's county by county. But average person didn't know that. Also, the hostages. But guess what? We just found a report that Reagan negotiated with the hostages to keep the shit going till after the election. How about that, Misfit Nation? Reagan wanted the hostages to keep going so he can win the election. That shit just came out. Consultant, what are your thoughts?
I first thought, I think you love Jimmy Carter because
No, I just love the numbers. I love Ford numbers even better.
Well, the only reason why I say that jokingly is because I heard that broadcast, that brief video you put out about Jimmy Carter. And I know you've brought him up before. You've mentioned some of the things he tried to do. I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper.
I like numbers. I like numbers. Numbers are more important than how I feel. I like Trump's numbers because he rolled off of what Obama did after Obama undid what Dick Cheney did. All y'all don't like to give Obama credit for that. Dick Cheney stole a lot of fucking money. You remember Clinton left him a surplus of money and he fucked it off. Nobody likes to remember that Dick Cheney fucked this off and gave it all to Halliburton.
He did, but I'll say this to finish my point is that again, it follows the pattern of how we zombified. We zombified those Black people after World War II by not fully addressing the things to make them whole citizens. Black people had to basically burn cities up and shit, excuse my language, and do all of these other things in order to make the last part of the Bill of Rights mean something, okay? And to kind of put this nation, it failed because of all those policymakers that you mentioned. You know, your J. Edgar Hoovers. Hell, I even put Henry Kissinger in there. If you you know how they carried out Vietnam. I mean, in bringing that up, and that may have led to what some of the subsequent people after Henry Kissinger and all those people did what they did, Mr. Research, just to free game on that. But that it follows the pattern, Mr. Research. That's what we do. We zombify. We zombify those people we got from Africa. We couldn't zombify. We couldn't totally zombify those people that we found over here, but we killed them off. We damn near decimated them. So we didn't have to zombify. That's the pattern, Mr. Research. It's not equitable terms. And that's what I was saying is that China, their key trade partners, and I don't think, Mr. Research, it has been shown that they are honestly trying to be equitable trade partners with those nations in Africa, with the Kenyans, with the Ugandas, with honest investment, because they need it. China needs it. China's like this, like President Xi was quoted as saying, China wants their partners in them to be successful. That is not how Western civilizations work. Because if that's how they work, Mr. Research, the Dutch would have done it, but they didn't. Spanish would have done it, but they didn't. They fumbled it too. The British would have done it with Japan and with China. They didn't. And look what the French did in Vietnam. All those great examples. That's what they do. They zombify.
So I want to switch something on this last thing. I'm going to talk about this on the Alpha Male Wisdom channel, the 2006 Alpha Male Wisdom channel. So go over there, look up some of these women and dating conversations. I'm not going to have it over here. But this is a beautiful thing that this woman said.
Why did I divorce my husband? I divorced my husband because I was making a certain amount of money. I divorced my husband because I thought I didn't need him anymore. I divorced my husband because I had this senior position at work and thought I held the same position at home. I divorced my husband because I thought I was better than him because I had my degree now. I divorced my husband because I thought a successful marriage meant I was here and he was down here. That is not success. That's fucking sickness. I found myself divorced and out there looking for love in all the wrong places, fucking this one and that one and that one and that one and this one and that one, and my body count going up and my value going down. I'm just gonna call it like a TI is. All the while my husband done found somebody else building a relationship and building a life with them.
I'm going to talk about that on my Alpha Male Wisdom channel. Stay tuned for that. My last comment is to Misfit Nation. Reagan negotiated with terrorists. Godly. What? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor guy. Give me the name of this terrorist that he negotiated with. What's the name of this guy? I'm going to wait around so you can give me the name of this terrorist that he negotiated with. And I know you're not going to be able to produce a name because he didn't do that. So on my Alpha Male Wisdom channel, man, make sure y'all tune in. I'm going to talk about Ebony Williams over there. And thank you for everybody who donated during this stream. I really appreciate it. King of Classy is the Cash App. I appreciate it, man. All your contributions really go to help paying for the marketing team and the SEO team. So much love, man. We're going to start shutting this down. I've been here for an hour and a half. I got to do some other things. I will get back to you on the Alpha Male Wisdom channel where we're going to talk about some of the things like this. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.